So many thanks, Dr. Muna and all the other colleagues at the IMS for the invitation. It's a great pleasure to be with you here today. I was supposed to be there, but still, unfortunately, I could not make it in the last minute. So I will be moving you today from archaeological studies and cultural studies to international relations and foreign policy. So my presentation that is co-authored by me, Mohamed Bouchikhi from Hassan First University in Morocco, and Dr. Mohamed Badine Yattioui from National Defense College, Abu Dhabi in United Arab Emirates, which is about the Al-Quds, Jerusalem in the Moroccan foreign policy. They therefore will be talking about three main points here in the presentation, which is the religious legitimacy for inter-religious rapprochement, Moroccan and the Palestinian Liberation Organization, the road to international recognition, as well as the Moroccan Jewish community historical roots. Then this our paper, or this short paper that is presented to this international conference, investigates the complex tripartite relationship between Morocco, Palestine, and Israel, which is somehow interesting and complex, since the Morocco has connection with both, with Israel, since there is a large or the largest Jewish community of Morocco settled down in Israel, as well as the religious and cultural and historical ties with Palestine. So in the Morocco gained its independence in 1956, and that time, which was, I think, almost a decade after the occupation of Palestine and the birth of the State of Israel. So Morocco distanced itself from the conflict due to regional and domestic reasons. However, by the mid-1960s, and right after the 1967 setback or Nakba, the defeat of the Arab troops, Morocco somehow gained more presence and get involved, especially with the waning of the Pan-Arabism that is led by former Egyptian President Jamal Abdel Nasser. That was the time when it paved the way to this regime regimes of Saudi Arabia and conservative regimes of Saudi Arabia and Morocco to take a leading role in the Arab affairs. Therefore, then we'll be talking about the main or the first main point of this presentation, which is the religious legitimacy for inter-religious rapprochement. This is about how the Moroccan monarchy used religion as a way to monopolize. This is about the domestic politics. It is a tool of monopolizing religion and politics in the domestic politics. However, it was also mobilized to advocate religious moderation and mediation, especially in the Arab-Israeli conflict, since it's, as I said, since mid-1960s. The creation of a regional organization that the OIC, Organization of Islamic Conference, that somehow switched or changed its name later, much later, to Organization of Islamic Cooperation, allowed the king, in line with the Saudis during the what's so-called the Sunni camp or Sunni conservative camp, to be the interlocutor and of a leading role in that mentioned conflict. As I said, the main presence started with in the post 1967, especially with the infamous fire of the Al-Aqsa Mosque in 1969, which led to after tremendous efforts led by Morocco and Saudi Arabia, to the birth of the conference, which is I think this was one of the first international organizations or regional organizations that the organization was established before the writing its charter, which came into light in 1972. However, by 1976, Morocco was granted the chairmanship of Al-Quds Committee. This committee was already established by 1975 or 76. However, that was granted for the Moroccan king, and still the king is chairing committee until today. So somehow this has showed that the Moroccan monarchy that marched on a fine and yet controversial diplomatic line between Palestinians and the Israelis. As I said, there are some common ground between Morocco and those and the two, between the Palestinians, as I said, as brothers in religion, in culture, in Arabization, and also in history, as well as with Israel. Since, as I said, I think if I'm not wrong, the largest Moroccan diaspora or Arab diaspora came from Morocco, that is settled down in Israel. Somehow, through mid-1960s, Morocco advocated a peaceful solution to the conflict, which somehow resulted in facilitating the way of contacts between Egypt, Sadat, and Israel, which led to the Sadat's historical visit to Israel, I think, in 1977, and which also led to the peace treaty of 1979. However, the Arab regional environment the outrage that was resulted from this rapprochement between the two enemies that were only less than 5 years fighting together became or signed the peace treaty, somehow led that Morocco distanced itself a while from Egypt. However, following the 1993 Oslo Peace Accords, Morocco hosted the Casablanca Conference. Casablanca Conference was not only an economic conference, but was the first non-political meeting between Israel and Arab leaders, which was called Casablanca. It's the MENA Economic Forum. That was the official name of the Casablanca Conference, and this conference ended the Arab boycott of Israel, which started from 1948 onward till 1930s. Following that year, Morocco, well, it was in the same year that the two countries signed or opened the liaison offices in both countries. However, the outbreak of the second Intifada in the fall of 2000 led to that this diplomatic rapprochement between the two countries had reached a deadlock, and the offices were closed. However, 20 years later, Morocco openly resumed its diplomatic relations with Israel. That in this time it was in a different regional and international environment. I think this, as I said, it was this new regional environment which is led by the so-called Abrahamic Accords, which many Arab countries, including UAE, Bahrain, Sudan, normalized their diplomatic relations with Israel, and somehow paved the way of new normalization initiatives that were coming on the way. And I think they are somehow stopped or halted for the time being. Then the fine line that I was talking about, it was not only about the starting the relations with Israel, which started from secrecy until they were openly or until they reached they saw the light in 1990s and later by 2000s. Morocco also played a major role in bringing the PLO to be recognized. However, before that, the 1960s, right after the Moroccan independence, the King Mohammed V visited Al-Quds. That time it was under the leadership, under the and before it was under the it was controlled under the control of the Jordanians. Well, as well as he visited the Al Yarmouk camp and of the Palestinian refugees in Syria, showing kind of support to the Palestinians. However, by 1950s, 60s, as I said, not only about the waning influence of Pan-Arabism, but as well as a change in the PLO leadership after Shukayri, who was a hardliner. Then when the king met with Yasser Arafat, the former leader of the PLO and the later Palestinian Authority, then they found that they had common ground of finding a peaceful solution to the conflict and moving from this open confrontation to finding a peaceful way. Then, since then, the King Hassan II took the responsibility of not only delivering the points and convictions of Palestinians, but also to work much harder on for the international recognition of the PLO. That was not an easy task, since by 1969, after the infamous fire of the Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, the king invited the PLO, which was openly refused or denied by Muslim leaders, and the king they made tremendous efforts to convince them to accept it in that summit. However, that was the beginning of organizing secret meetings between the French and the Americans, and which led by 1974 to the UN recognition of Palestinian right to self-determination, as well as recognizing the Palestinian Liberation Organization as the sole and representative of the Palestinians. Then, not only working on the international scene and supporting the political leadership, however, Morocco also provided civil assistance to the Palestinians after the establishment of the Moroccan Fund to support the Palestinian people. Also, through the Al-Quds Committee, many social projects on education, health, and several human development projects were put into work in Palestine. However, by following the peace process that resulted from the Oslo Peace Accords in 1993, Morocco was designed the Gaza International Airport, and the Moroccan Royal Air Maroc, the Moroccan flagship carrier, was one of the first planes to land in there. However, that dream of the Palestinians and the Arab efforts to build an international airport was faded away 3 years later or 2 years later, once Israel totally destroyed the airport, and that was the end of a dream of the Palestinians. However, when it comes to the historical roots of the Moroccan Jews, as I said, historically the Jewish community was part of the Moroccan social fabric. When they moved to Morocco, or their existence in Morocco goes back to hundreds of years, even before the Islamic retreat from Western Europe, from Andalusia, after the Reconquista. However, they settled down and they were part of the national social fabric. However, by mid-1940s, Morocco had about 250,000 Jewish citizen in the country. However, even before the independence of Morocco, there were illegal initiatives led by the current day Mossad service, secret service of evacuating thousands of Moroccans. I think by 1948 it was about 90, almost 99,000 Jews left Morocco to Israel, according to the Jewish agency records. However, in domestic politics, the Jewish immigration to Israel was not accepted by the Moroccan elite. Although despite the fact that Morocco was still under the French protectorate or French occupation, military and political occupation, the Moroccans were not in favor of this immigration. Among liberals, pan-Arabists, and traditional wing of the Istiklal Party. Istiklal Party, it was the major party that played a major role in line with the monarchy and the Moroccan people in the fight against the French. So those three were not in favor of this immigration. For the Moroccan liberals, it was it's for them it gave the image of a nation that is purely religious nation, that is or they refused based on that it should be an open nation that accommodates all the religions. For the pan-Arabists, since they exalted and or they praised the pan-Arabism of Jamal Abdel Nasser, they did not want, or they were not in favor of this migration. However, the migration happened. Now in Morocco, the Jewish community is about 3,000, like being reduced from 250,000 to 3,000. Most of them were either moved to Israel or moved to France, Canada, and the United States, due to many reasons, especially following the Islamic resurgence, the Arab-Israeli conflict, and somehow, and also the age of international terrorism that came into light in mid-1980s. However, Morocco still worked hard to keep the contacts and the connection with its community. By 2011, the constitution that resulted from the Arab Spring demonstration, it mentioned the Hebraic influence that has shaped the Moroccan identity in line with the Amazigh, Arab, Andalusian, and African identities, or influences, the historical influences that have shaped the Moroccan identity throughout history. Sorry, I think I'm gonna finish even much earlier than the time that was given to me. That would be good to open to give the space for more discussion. Then recently the king also pushed for the renovation of Jewish heritage sites in Morocco, cemeteries, synagogues, schools, and also mentioning the Hebraic influences in school curriculums. However, by 2022, it was the inauguration of the Council of the Jewish Community in Morocco. Somehow this is showing how Morocco had worked on a fine line between the two countries. From one side, he advocated for a peaceful solution to the conflict, opening lines of contacts with Israelis from the 1960, I think from the 1963 onward. The same time showed open support for the Palestinians, for the people of the Palestinian people, as well as for the political leadership. Also, the time when Arabs took arms to fight against Israel, Morocco also was among these countries to send its troops, since this is not a national cause of Moroccan as well as of the Arabs. However, at the end, based on the Abrahamic Accords that led that Morocco resumed or established full diplomatic relations with Israel. There are many benefits for the country based on the national interest of the kingdom, through which in addition to economic relations, there are also military relations, the modernization of the military in line with other economic and political gains. However, despite all these major benefits, the Palestinian issue remains the main concern of Moroccans, given the fact that with the outbreak of the recent incidents, Moroccans took to the streets, as well as all the people across the world in support of the Palestinians. My presentation, I think it was quite short, and I will stop here. Thank you for your attention, and please, I'm open for your questions and discussion. Thank you so much.
You really use exact time. Thank